بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا بكم أعزائي الطلاب إلى درس من الدروس المصورة لمادة اللغة الإنجليزية للصف السادس الابتدائي. Module 10 The World Around Us. Our World 1. Students book page 118 and 119.
Module 10 Our World 1. Vocabulary. Fabric, linen, pattern, decorate, wedding, turn into.
Open your student's book, please, page 118. Today we are going to talk about costumes from different countries. Listen, then we will answer some questions about these texts.
2. Look at the pictures and match the names of the costumes A to B with the places they come from, 1 to 2. Then read and check your answers. Clothes now and then. In the past, people didn't wear the same clothes they wear now. Here are some traditional costumes that people wore in the past and which they still wear today on special occasions. A. Kimono. The kimono is a traditional Japanese costume. Both men and women wore it in their everyday lives in the past. Most kimonos had flowers, butterflies, and lots of colors on them. The Japanese used silk, linen, or cotton to make them. They used thick fabric to make kimonos for winter and a lighter fabric for summer kimonos. They never threw old kimonos away. They usually turned them into bags, cases, or clothes for children. Japanese people haven't stopped wearing kimonos. Today, they usually wear them on special days, like when there is a wedding or a traditional event.
Question number 1. What are traditional costumes? What are traditional costumes? Traditional costumes are clothes people wore in the past and which they still wear today on special occasions. Number 2. What is kimono? What is kimono? The kimono is a traditional Japanese costume. Kimono is a traditional Japanese costume. We have two texts, a kimono and a sari. One of them belongs India and the other belongs Japan. Which one belongs Japan? Number A, kimono belongs Japan.
B. Sari. The sari is the traditional dress for women in India. People made saris from cotton or silk in the past, and Indian women wore them in more than 100 different ways. Indian people always decorate saris with lots of different colours and patterns too. Some women wore saris every day, but they wore other special saris on special days, like when there was a wedding. Many Indian women still wear saris today in India and all over the world.
Sari. What is sari? The sari is the traditional dress for women in India. Question number 2. What did people make saris from? People made saris from cotton or silk in the past. Exercise number 3 from your students' book. Read again and write KM for kimono or S for sari. Number 1. Men don't wear them. Kimono or sari? Sariya. They made them with different kinds of fabric in summer and winter. Kimono. Men and women wore them. Kimono. They have got many different patterns on them. Sari. They use them to make bags and children's clothing. Kimono. Number 6. They wore them in more than 100 ways. Sari. Exercise number 4. Listen and write T for true or F for false.
Four. Listen and write T for true or F for false.
In ancient Greece, men wore a long robe called a chiton. Men spent many hours outdoors, so they made their clothes from linen, which is a light and cool fabric. Women wore a long dress called a peplos. They made it from a heavier wool material, and they always tied a thin belt around it. Women could wear the peplos in many different ways by changing the way they pinned or buttoned it. When the weather was very cold, men and women wore a large wool fabric over their clothes. Men also used it as a blanket when they were away from home. The ancient Greeks usually only wore shoes on special occasions, and when men worked, they often wore leather boots. Clothes were very expensive in ancient Greece because a lot of the materials came from other countries. They never threw away old clothes. They always used them again and again or turned them into other things like bags. Now, let's move on to...
After listening, read these sentences, then write T for true or F for false. Number 1. Ancient Greeks used silk to make men's clothes. True or false? False. Women wore a long dress called a peplos. True. Women wore the peplos in many different ways. True. Ancient Greeks didn't wear shoes. Clothes were expensive in ancient Greeks. True. Thank you for your attention. See you later.